June 8, 793 AD. A quiet morning on the holy island of Lindisfarne. Monks awoke to the sound of waves, wind, and distant seabirds, not realizing history was about to change forever. The monastery had stood for over a century. It was a beacon of faith and learning, home to illuminated manuscripts, sacred relics, and peaceful prayer. But from across the North Sea, something new was coming. Longships, sleek, fast, carved with dragon heads, slicing through the mist. The first recorded Viking raid in England was about to begin. The attackers were seafarers from the north, Scandinavians skilled in navigation, shipbuilding, and survival. Their homelands were rugged with harsh winters and scarce farmland. To them, raiding was not only a way to gain wealth, but also glory and survival. The Anglo-Saxon monks of Lindisfarne never expected such a threat. For centuries, the church had been a place of sanctuary. No army had ever dared to strike so boldly at a holy site. But that morning, the rules changed. The longships reached the shore. The raiders poured onto the beach, armed with axes, swords, and shields. They stormed the monastery. Gold, silver, and relics were torn from their places. Some monks were killed. Others were dragged away, enslaved, or forced to flee. The sacred ground of Lindisfarne was left in flames. To the people of England, it was unthinkable. One chronicler wrote that fiery dragons were seen flying across the sky before the attack, a sign of divine wrath. A Northumbrian scholar named Alcuin wrote, "The pagans have desecrated God's sanctuary, shed the blood of saints, and trampled their bodies in the temple of God." To Christian Europe, this was not just an attack, it was a warning. A storm from the north had arrived. But what about the Vikings side of the story? No written accounts survived from them. They left no records of what they thought or why they came. Yet historians believe they saw opportunity. England's monasteries were rich, undefended, and filled with treasure. To them, it wasn't a holy war, it was business, survival, and reputation. A successful raid could make a man famous. Back home, stories would spread of the warriors who crossed the sea and returned with riches and glory. Raiding was the beginning of something far larger, trade routes, settlements, and exploration that would stretch from North America to the Middle East. In the years that followed Lindisfarne, more raids came. Monasteries across Ireland, Scotland, and England fell one by one. But Lindisfarne remained the symbol, the first strike, the first warning, the beginning of the Viking Age. And yet, historians remind us, the Vikings were more than raiders. They were explorers, traders, builders, and storytellers. Their legacy is complex, a mix of brutality, ambition, and innovation. The attack on Lindisfarne is remembered because it shattered the peace of an old world and announced the arrival of a new one. Even today, the ruins of Lindisfarne Priory stand as a silent witness. The tide still cuts the island off from the mainland, just as it did that fateful day in 793. If you stand there at dawn, you can almost hear it, the wind through the stones, the crash of distant waves, and maybe, faintly, the echo of longships approaching through the mist. This was the day the Vikings arrived, and the world would never be the same.